Have you ever heard of a story so wild, so unbelievable, that it sounds like it came straight out of a Hollywood movie? Well, today, we're diving into one of those stories, but this one is completely true. It's the tale of a secret mission that changed the entire course of World War II, a plan so audacious it involved a dead body, a briefcase full of fake secrets, and a group of intelligence officers who were masters of deception. This is the incredible story of Operation Mincemeat. Let's set the scene. It's 1943, the Allies have driven the Axis forces out of North Africa, and are now planning their next big move, the invasion of Europe. The most logical place to start is Sicily. It's the perfect stepping stone into Italy and the soft underbelly of Hitler's fortress Europe. The problem? Everyone knew it. The Germans and Italians were expecting an attack on Sicily and had heavily fortified the island. A direct invasion would be a bloodbath, with potentially tens of thousands of Allied casualties. The Allied commanders were desperate. They needed a way to trick the enemy, to convince them that the real target was somewhere else entirely. This is where our story truly begins. In a smoke-filled basement office in London, home to the 20 Committee, a small but brilliant team of British intelligence officers. Their job was to handle double agents and create elaborate deceptions. Leading the charge were two men, Ewan Montague, a naval intelligence officer and lawyer, and Charles Chumley, an eccentric RAF flight lieutenant. They were tasked with solving an impossible problem. How do you convince the German high command that you're going to attack Greece and Sardinia, not Sicily? They needed a plan that was more than just a rumor or a fake radio message. They needed something the Germans would believe without a shadow of a doubt. Chumley came up with the initial spark of an idea, inspired by a memo from a fellow officer written years earlier. The idea was simple in concept, but terrifyingly complex in execution. Plant false documents on a dead body, dress him as a British officer, and let him wash ashore in a neutral country where German spies could find him. The plan was codenamed Operation Mincemeat. First, they needed a body. This was the most ghoulish and ethically fraught part of the plan. They couldn't just use any body. It had to be someone who looked like they had died at sea, from drowning or hypothermia, with no other signs of injury. After a careful search, they found their man. A homeless man named Glyndwr Michael had tragically died after ingesting rat poison. His body was perfect for their purposes. With the quiet approval of his family, this forgotten man was about to be given a new identity and a mission that would save thousands of lives. Glyndwr Michael was transformed into Major William Martin of the Royal Marines. This wasn't just a name, it was a complete persona. Montague and his team built an entire life for Major Martin. They gave him an ID card, complete with a stern-looking photograph, though the man in the photo was actually another intelligence officer who just happened to look the part. They filled his pockets with the mundane items of a man's life. Ticket stubs from a London theater show, a letter from his father, a bill for an engagement ring, and most importantly, love letters from his fiancée, a woman named Pam. Pam was actually a clerk at MI5, and her heartfelt letters added a layer of profound authenticity to the deception. Major Martin felt real. The centerpiece of the entire operation was a briefcase, which was to be chained to Major Martin's wrist. Inside this briefcase was the bait. It contained official-looking, but completely fake, personal letters between two high-ranking British generals. These letters subtly hinted that the main Allied invasion was targeting Greece and Sardinia, and that Sicily was just a feint, a diversionary tactic to draw German forces away from the real battle. Every detail was meticulously crafted to be convincing. The letters were written on the correct stationery, signed by the generals, and folded just so. Now, they had the body, the identity, and the fake intelligence. The next challenge was getting Major Martin to the right place. They couldn't just drop him from a plane. The fall would cause injuries inconsistent with drowning. He had to be delivered carefully into the sea. The submarine, HMS Seraph, was chosen for this delicate task. The body of Major Martin was packed in dry ice and loaded into a special canister. On April 30th, 1943, off the coast of Huelva, a small port in neutral Spain, known to have a very active and very gullible German spy, the crew of the Seraph gently released their passenger into the water. They even recited a psalm as he floated away, a final moment of respect for the man who was sacrificing his identity for the cause. The waiting began. It was a nerve-wracking time for Montague and his team back in London. Had the body been found? Would the Spanish authorities hand it over to the Germans? Would the Germans believe the documents? Everything hinged on a chain of events they could no longer control. A few hours later, a Spanish fisherman discovered the body floating in the water and brought it ashore. As hoped, the local authorities were alerted, and word quickly reached the local German agent. The Spanish performed a very cursory autopsy, concluding that the man had indeed died by drowning. And then, after some diplomatic pressure, they handed over Major Martin's belongings to the British, but not before the German agent had managed to get his hands on the briefcase. The Germans carefully opened the letters, photographed them, and then resealed them so cleverly that the British wouldn't know they'd been read. They took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. The photographed documents were rushed to Berlin and landed directly on Adolf Hitler's desk. The contents of Major Martin's briefcase confirmed his deepest suspicions. He was convinced that Sicily was a trap. He immediately ordered a massive shift in his military strategy. Panzer divisions were moved from France to Greece. Torpedo boats were redeployed to the Greek islands. General Rommel was sent to Athens to oversee the defenses. Most critically, 2 panzer divisions were diverted from the Eastern Front, weakening the German position against the Soviets, and crucial reinforcements meant for Sicily were sent to Sardinia instead. The German war machine completely reoriented itself to defend against a ghost invasion. On July 10, 1943, the Allies launched Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily. Instead of the heavily defended fortress they had feared, they were met with surprisingly light resistance. The German and Italian forces were caught completely off guard, their main strength positioned hundreds of miles away, waiting for an attack that would never come. Sicily fell to the Allies much faster, and with far fewer casualties than anyone had dared to hope. The path into Italy was open, and the dominoes of the Axis powers began to fall. Operation Mincemeat was an unqualified, spectacular success. It's considered one of the most brilliant and effective military deceptions in history. A plan born from desperation, executed with incredible detail and a touch of macabre genius, saved countless lives and shortened the war. For years, the story remained a closely guarded secret. The man at the heart of it all, Glyndwr Michael, was buried in Huelva, Spain, under the name Major William Martin. His gravestone reads, William Martin, born the 29th of March 1907, died the 24th of April 1943, beloved son of John Glyndwr Martin and the late Antonia Martin of Cardiff, Wales. It was a final piece of the story they had created for him. Only in 1996 was his true identity officially confirmed. Today, his grave is a site of pilgrimage for those who know the true story. A quiet tribute to the homeless man from Wales who, in death, became a hero and changed the world. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, the most important battles aren't fought with guns and tanks, but with imagination, courage, and a briefcase full of lies. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales from history. Let me know in the comments what other secret operations you'd like me to cover. See you next time.